Lovely viewers, get ready, because today's story has sent shockwaves across the internet and lit up every corner of social media. Song Joong, a name we all know and respect, has found himself at the center of a viral storm after a heartfelt interview that left fans speechless. His words, though simple, carried so much weight, and one line in particular has set the world on fire. Minho took her away from me. Yes, you heard that right. Those exact words, raw and unfiltered, have become the talking point everywhere, sparking endless debates, discussions, and emotions. Now, let's break this down together, dear viewers, because this isn't just any casual remark. It's an emotional confession that reveals so much more than meets the eye. In the interview, Joong wasn't his usual calm, composed self. There was a vulnerability in his tone, a trace of pain in his eyes, and a sense of longing in his words. When the interviewer asked about love, relationships, and moving forward after heartbreak, he hesitated, looked down, and then quietly said those unforgettable words. Minho took her away from me. You could almost feel the silence in the room at that very moment. For fans of the Song couple, this hit especially hard. It wasn't just a sentence. It was a window into Joong's heart, a raw acknowledgement that even though time has passed, the scars remain. And when he mentioned Minho's name, everything changed. Social media exploded instantly, with fans sharing the clip thousands of times within minutes. Hashtags started trending worldwide, with people torn between sympathy for Joong, admiration for Minho and Song Hye Kyo's love story, and confusion about what this really means for their complicated history. Lovely viewers, let's pause for a moment and think. What do you hear when you listen to those words? Do you hear anger? Do you hear jealousy? Or do you hear sadness? Many fans believe it was less about blaming Minho and more about expressing the heartbreak of losing someone he once cherished so deeply. Others argue that Joong was being brutally honest about the reality, that Minho, with his undeniable charm and devotion, became the man Hye Kyo now chooses to stand beside. What makes this even more gripping is how raw it feels. Joong didn't dress his words up, didn't try to sugarcoat them, didn't even laugh it off as a joke. He just said it. And that honesty is what has fans divided. Some rushed to defend him, saying, "He's only human, let him feel," while others pointed out that dragging Minho's name into it might create more tension. Either way, one thing is certain. This interview has peeled back a layer of Joong we rarely see, the vulnerable man beneath the polished star. Now let's not forget, lovely viewers, Minho and Song Hye Kyo's love story has been the talk of the town for months now. From their dreamy wedding to their sweet family moments, they've been painting the picture of happiness. And while fans celebrate their joy, Joong's words remind us of the bittersweet reality, that in every story of love found, there's also a story of love lost. That's what makes this viral moment so compelling. It's not just gossip. It's a reminder of the tangled emotions that come with love, fame, and human hearts. Fans have been flooding comment sections everywhere, some saying, "This broke my heart, Joong still loves her," while others argue, "He needs to move on and let her be happy." And then, of course, there are those who see his statement as proof that the love triangle between these three stars still lingers in the background, even if unspoken. It's almost like watching a real-life drama play out. Except this isn't scripted. This is raw life unfolding before our eyes. What's even more fascinating is the ripple effect this interview has caused. Talk shows are discussing it. Fan pages are dissecting every second of the clip, and international outlets are picking up the story. It's not just Korea that's buzzing, it's the whole world. Everyone wants to know, was Joong simply speaking from a place of pain? Or was he throwing shade at Minho, intentionally or unintentionally? That question alone has sparked endless theories. Imagine being in that studio when he said it, lovely viewers. The air must have shifted instantly. The interviewer reportedly froze for a moment, unsure how to respond. The crew looked at each other, realizing they had just witnessed a statement that would soon echo across millions of screens. And Joong himself, after letting those words slip, gave a faint, almost sad smile, like he knew he had said something that couldn't be taken back. That moment of vulnerability, of honesty, was the spark that made this clip go viral. Now let's consider what this means for Lee Minho and Song Hye-kyo. Will they respond? Will they ignore it and continue living their love story? Or will this statement follow them around, becoming the shadow behind their glowing romance? Fans are waiting, eager for even the smallest reaction from Minho or Hye-kyo. Some say Hye-kyo might address it gracefully, while others believe she will stay silent, letting her actions speak louder than words. As for Minho, many expect him to take the high road, focusing on his family and leaving the noise behind. Lovely viewers, here's the truth. No matter what happens next, this interview will be remembered for a long time. Because in just one sentence, Joong managed to stir emotions, revive old wounds, and remind the world that behind the glamorous lives of celebrities are real human feelings. And that's why people can't stop watching, sharing, and reacting. It's not just about who's right or wrong. It's about seeing the raw humanity of someone we admire. So, I ask you, dear friends, how do you feel about Joong-ki's words? Do you sympathize with him, seeing them as a cry from the heart? Do you think he crossed a line by naming Minho? Or do you see it as the inevitable truth of love lost and love found? Whatever your answer, one thing is clear. This story has reminded us that love is never simple, and even the brightest stars can feel the deepest pain. Lovely viewers, let's continue, because this story doesn't end with just a viral clip and a single sentence. It has unfolded into something far bigger, deeper, and more emotional than anyone expected. After Song Joong-ki's words, "Lee Minho took her away from me," echoed across social media, the world didn't simply move on. Instead, it set off a ripple effect, and now we're seeing just how much weight those words carry. Not only for Joong himself but also for the fans, the media, and of course Lee Minho and Song Hye-kyo. In the hours after the interview aired, fans rushed online to pour their hearts out. Some were devastated, writing things like, "He still hasn't healed, he's still hurting," while others defended his right to express himself, saying, "It takes courage to admit your pain in front of millions." Lovely viewers, imagine the courage it must take for someone like Joong, always polished, always professional, to let his guard down so completely. For once, it wasn't the actor speaking. It was the man, the former husband, the human being whose heart had been bruised by love and loss. And yet, not everyone saw it that way. A wave of debate quickly emerged, with critics pointing out that mentioning Lee Minho by name might stir unnecessary conflict. Some fans worried that such words could create tension between the two leading men, while others argued that this wasn't about rivalry at all. It was about raw honesty. And that's the beauty of this moment, lovely viewers. It wasn't staged, it wasn't filtered. It was Joong speaking his truth, no matter how messy or complicated it sounded. But here's where things get even more interesting. Reports began to circulate that people close to Joong said he hadn't meant the line as an attack on Minho, but as a reflection of how it felt to lose Hye-kyo. When you're heartbroken, you don't think in polished sentences. You speak from pain, and sometimes that pain spills out as blame, even if deep down you know love is never that simple. Haven't we all at some point spoken words we didn't plan, just because our emotions carried us away? Lovely viewers, this is what makes Joong confession so relatable, because it isn't perfect. It's raw. Meanwhile, all eyes turned to Lee Minho and Song Hye-kyo. Would they respond? Would they stay silent? As of now, neither has directly addressed Joong viral interview. But fans are reading between the lines of everything they post, every picture, every caption, searching for clues. Some even claim that Hye-kyo's recent Instagram photo, showing her holding her baby close with the caption, "My light, my strength," was her way of gently saying she has moved on and found peace. Others say Minho's calm silence is proof of his maturity, choosing love over drama. What do you think, dear viewers? If you were in their shoes, would you address it or let it pass? The media, of course, is having a field day. Headlines scream about a love triangle, old wounds reopening, and the man who lost her versus the man who won her. And while these stories make for exciting drama, the truth is more delicate. At its core, this is about three people, each trying to navigate love, heartbreak, and happiness under the harsh spotlight of fame. For Joong, that sentence might have been a release of bottled-up emotions. For Minho and Hye-kyo, It's a reminder that their love story will always carry echoes of the past. But lovely viewers, let's not forget the most important part here. The fans. Because it is the fans who are carrying this story, dissecting every detail, reacting with empathy, anger, and endless curiosity. Some fans are writing long messages of support to Joong, telling him, "You deserve happiness too, don't give up on love." Others are fiercely defending Minho and Kyo, insisting that their happiness shouldn't be shadowed by the past. And then there are those who simply feel torn, caught between wanting to see Joong heal and wanting to celebrate the joy of Minho and Kyo's family. As the days pass, one thing has become clear. This interview has cemented itself as a cultural moment. It's no longer just about one man's words. It's about the conversation those words have sparked. It's about healing, heartbreak, and the complicated nature of love. And maybe, just maybe, it's about reminding all of us that even the brightest stars struggle with the same emotions we do. Fame doesn't erase heartbreak. Success doesn't erase longing. And love, once lost, always leaves a mark. Lovely viewers, now I turn to you again. Do you think Joong's words were a slip of the tongue, a raw confession, or a deliberate statement? Do you believe Minho and Kyo will respond in time? Or will they rise above it and continue focusing on their love story? And perhaps most importantly, do you think Joong is still holding on to a love he hasn't let go of? Or was this simply the last flicker of pain escaping his heart? Because if there's one thing we've learned from this story, it's that love stories never truly end. They change, they evolve, they leave behind echoes in words like, "Lee Minho took her away from me." And those echoes, lovely viewers, will keep resonating as long as we continue to listen, to feel, and to care. Lee Minho took her away from me didn't just disappear into yesterday's headlines. Instead, it has grown into a wave of emotions, conversations, and speculations that keep getting louder every day. And as we watch the story evolve, it feels like we're all caught up in a drama that no screenwriter could have ever scripted, because this is real life, raw and unfiltered. In the days following the interview, fans noticed something remarkable. Joong has been quieter than usual on social media. Normally, he posts updates about his projects, his travels, or even the occasional behind-the-scenes glimpse of his life. But after the storm of attention, his silence felt heavy, almost like he was retreating into himself. Some fans believe he's protecting his heart, avoiding more speculation, while others think he's simply letting the noise pass. Lovely viewers, don't you think that silence sometimes speaks louder than words? It leaves people wondering, imagining, and creating their own stories around it. Meanwhile, Lee Minho has been seen out and about, often with Song Kyo by his side, looking calm and collected. Paparazzi photos showed them with their baby during a quiet family outing, and while they looked peaceful, the comments under those pictures were anything but. Half the comments were filled with admiration. "They look so happy together. Minho is such a devoted father," while the other half couldn't help but connect the dots back to Joong's interview, writing things like, "I wonder if they've seen the clip," or "They're smiling, but do Joong's words haunt them?" Lovely viewers, the beauty of this story, and its tragedy, is how layered it is. On one side we have Joong still processing, still haunted by the shadows of love lost. On the other side, Minho and Kyo, basking in the glow of love found. And right in the middle, millions of fans, divided between sympathy, celebration, and curiosity. Doesn't it feel like we've all become part of this emotional triangle, pulled in by the honesty of Joong's words and the perfection of Minho and Kyo's romance? What's even more fascinating is how industry insiders are starting to weigh in. Some say Joong's confession might have been unplanned, a slip of the heart rather than a calculated statement. Others suggest it could have been his way of finally releasing emotions he's been carrying for years. And still, others whisper that it was meant as a reminder, not to Minho or Kyo, but to himself, that the past can't be erased, only acknowledged. Lovely viewers, which one do you believe? Do you think his words were a cry for closure, or an open wound speaking out loud? As for the fans, the divide continues to grow. In online forums, you'll find passionate discussions that read like love letters and battle cries rolled into one. Some fans write long posts defending Joong, saying, "He's only human, let him grieve the way he needs to." Others stand firm behind Minho and Kyo, insisting, they deserve their happiness without being dragged back into the past. And then, of course, there are the dreamers, the ones who still hold out hope that perhaps, in some parallel universe, Joong and Kyo might find their way back to each other. But perhaps the most touching part of this unfolding story is how relatable it feels. Haven't we all had moments where someone we loved slipped away into the arms of another? Haven't we all wondered what we might say if given the chance to confess how much it hurt? Joong's words may have been shocking, but they also touched something universal in all of us. The pain of letting go, the ache of watching someone you once called your own find happiness elsewhere. Lovely viewers, the question now is, what happens next? Will Joong eventually address the storm he created with that single sentence? Will Minho or Kyo break their silence, even subtly, to acknowledge the viral moment? Or will the story quietly fade, leaving only whispers and echoes behind? Fans are waiting, hearts in their throats, for the next move. And in this unpredictable love triangle, anything feels possible. But here's something important to remember. Beyond the viral clip, beyond the speculation, beyond the drama, are real people with real emotions. Joong's pain, Minho's quiet strength, and Kyo's search for peace are not just entertainment. They're reminders that love in all its forms is both beautiful and heartbreaking. And perhaps that's why we can't look away. So, dear friends, as we keep following this story, let's also ask ourselves, what does it teach us? Maybe it teaches us that heartbreak doesn't disappear just because time passes. Maybe it reminds us that love, when lost, leaves marks that even the brightest smiles can't fully erase. And maybe it shows us that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is speak your truth, even if the world isn't ready for it. Now I ask you, lovely viewers, do you think Joong will ever fully heal from this? Do you believe Minho and Kyo's love will grow stronger in the face of these shadows? And most importantly, what do you think these 3 stars feel when they see how the world has reacted to one sentence? Because while we watch, comment, and speculate, they are the ones living this story in real time, with real hearts that beat, break, and love.